What if your text felt like the words being said, not just moved on screen? If you've seen my text animations on TikTok, you'll know I don't just sync words to a beat. I try to make the animation feel like the words. Whether it's a lyric, a voiceover, a quote, or even just standalone text, how it moves should reflect how it feels. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. 1. Simple text animation styles. 2. More complex animation based on the processes we learn in step 1. And 3. How to preset your animation so you'll never have to manually do it again. Let's dive in, and drop a comment if there's a style, phrase, or animation you want to see next. So this is a video I recently posted on TikTok. Now I know this looks like a lot, but I'm not going to overwhelm you with all of this. I'm going to start by looking at the text animation. Here I've used a bounce effect, which we will explore later in the video, but for now, let's look at text animation basics. So create your text layer, type in your text, click the drop down, and click this animate button in the top right. We're going to select position and everything will appear. On the position, you can drag it and you can see how this is moving the text. This will be its start point for the animation and it will finish in the place that it's already positioned. We're also going to add an opacity onto this and set that to 0. Again, this is where it's going to start. We're going to click the drop down on the range selector and create a start keyframe at 0 and take that all the way to the end and put it to 100. As you can see here, it's using those values that we put in and completing the animation itself. It's pretty simple, and that's basically how text animation works. But we're going to do a few things to make it better. So in the advanced drop-down setting, you can see you can change what is being animated. So changing it here to words means that it's going to animate word by word instead of character. You can also change the ease settings for ease high and ease low. I typically go for a 20% high and 100% low, and you can just see how that makes it a little bit smoother. We're also going to add a blur just so you can see how that looks. So setting that blur to 100 within the same animator will just make it take on the properties that we've already put with the start and end points. And you can see how that blurs in and out. What you can also do is change the position. So you can see how here it's moving in from the right instead of moving upwards. There's a ton of different properties you can select from, even fill color and stroke color and everything. And it's all animatable. So this is really your start point. But let's say you want to make the words line up better with whatever audio you're using, whether that's music or just someone speaking like right now. This is where you can use speed graphs to change how quickly the words come in. So we're going to select our keyframes and hit F9 on the keyboard just to ease them, and then we're going to open the graph. Here you can change how that speed works. So ramping it to the start means that it comes in super quickly. If you bring it slightly in, it will start slower and ease out. But I would recommend you probably want to keep that graph as low as possible because you can see how smoothly that flows. Okay, that's step 1 rounded up. Let's recap what we've already learned. We've learned how to do simple position, opacity, and blur animations on text. We've learned how to easy ease keyframes, and how to use that to time that to words. Now let's move on to step 2, where things get a little bit trickier, but I paint it all out for you so it's easy to copy. So we're going to start exactly where we did before, hitting that animate button in the top right and adding a position animation. We're going to set the Y position to -75. And then we're going to open the range selector and we're going to use the offset this time to animate this text. We're going to set that to -100, so it will start in its original position. And then we're going to set that to +100, which will end in its original position. And you can see that plays almost on a loop. But we're going to change some things in the advanced settings. So we're going to set the shape of the animation to ramp down. And you can see how this changes how it animates. It means that more characters animate at the same time. And next we're going to play with the ease high and ease low. We're going to put that ease high all the way to 100, but we're going to leave the ease low at 0. And you can see how that already flows really nicely. I'm going to hide that top text just to make this easier to watch as we continue going through. We've already got a pretty smooth animation here, but let's carry on to make it bounce. So we're going to select the animator, make sure it's the animator, and duplicate that with Command D. Now on that position, we are going to change that to +50 on the Y. And then we're going to open it up. Everything else is going to stay the same apart from in the advanced settings, where we're going to change the ease high to 50 and the ease low to 50. Now I've just hidden the top one so you can see how this works by itself. It's moving down very similarly to how the first one was moving up. but when I enable them both, you'll see how they work together. It creates this bounce effect almost in the same place. It moves up slightly, but we've already got that bounce going. So this is the bounce effect essentially created. And now we're going to duplicate animator 2 to create a third animation that's going to be our position. So we're going to change that Y position one more time on this third animator to -10. And that's the bounce effect already in place. You can see it slightly bounces up. It flows really nicely and it all works together. I'm just disabling that last one so you can see the slight change it does. It makes it all that little bit smoother and pushes it up slightly more. Okay, so we've got the position all animated. That's all good to go. But you're probably asking, the text is there. It's not animating in. You've just made it wiggle. And I agree. So that's why there's one more animator we need to put in place. Now, I know this might seem tricky because there's 4 different animators going on in this one text, but step 3 will tell you how to turn this into a preset so you'll never have to create this animation again. So for the final time, we're going to click that animate button and select opacity. And this one's really simple. We're going to set that opacity to 0, just like we did in step 1, so it's going to start completely transparent. We're not going to use the offset this time, which you probably could if you wanted, but we're going to revert back to our original way of keyframing using the start. So we're going to keyframe at the start at 0%, take it to the end and put it to 100. And you can see how that animates in letter by letter, but it comes in too late. So we're just going to move that final keyframe back a little bit, and we're going to change the ease high and ease low to 20 and 100 like I like to do. And you can see how this flows in. So if you move that second keyframe around, you can see where it's affecting the text. So you want it to be that it's not coming fully in before all of the characters have started to move. I'm just offsetting everything by 5 keyframes, and you can see how this makes it jump a little bit more. I'm going to put a side by side here so you can see that top one is everything in the same place and the bottom one is offset. So step 2 is wrapped up, and you can really see the amount you can animate with text in After Effects. Before we move into step 3, let's look at some other things you can do by combining the skills we learned in step 1. You can create a per character type-on, which is really great for slowly revealing thoughts, narrations, or when you want a typed live feel. It's also strong for digital UI style animations. You can do a flicker in, which feels raw and glitchy, and this one's loud. It's good for hooks, emotional instability, or distressed energy. And the final one is slide and stretched. These letters move like they've got attitude. They're perfect for stylized animations without sound, or to add character when there's no audio to sync. So we've learned the basics, we've learned how to combine the basics to make something a bit trickier, and now onto the final step, which is making that a preset so you can just add it, drag and drop onto all of your text layers and reuse it whenever you want. And this is pretty simple. So you're going to go onto your text layer and select the 4 animators. Make sure you're selecting the animators and then go to the animation tab at the top. Here, all you have to click is Save Animation Preset. This will open up one of your files and just give it a name, and it will appear over here on the right in Effects. It will appear under Animation Presets and User Presets. And then we just clear the animators we've already got on there. All you have to do is double click it and it will automatically input all of that in. And all of your work that you've just done will never have to be done again. And you can continue to layer a bunch of different animations together, whether it's grain and noise, turbulent displace, wave warp, glow, blur, color overlays. These final layers add tone and atmosphere. Think of them like lighting in a film scene. They can completely shift how your animation feels. So hit subscribe and tell me what you want to see, and I'll catch you in the next one.